Good afternoon, everyone. It is nice and honor to be here. First of all, I would like to thanks to the organizer for hosting such a wonderful conference. So I have participated lots of few of uh, conference, and it was a very insight to have those knowledge area about the open sources and artificial intelligence. So I'm here to represent as a Vodafone employee and to just take you through that our journey to just achieve that zero touch automation and a vendor-free ecosystem of our telecommunication system. So little about myself. I'm Sachin, about 22 years experience. My focus area in Vodafone is to develop network API to expose our network capability to internal and external customer. So I'll come to next slide, what is a network capability, what we are trying to achieve, how we are just exposing those network capability to that external or internal customer. So this is the agenda, so I'll just go to that. First, I'll just go through that what is the usage of cloud native technologies which we are using that our ecosystem, and then the how that open source system is helping to build our scaling our APIs, and how we achieve the zero touch automation in that issue detections and scaling of the Kubernetes resources, and how we have just reduced that proprietary solutions and just move to that open standard technologies. So before going to the more detail about our slides and how we are just exposing our API, there's two important terms. Without that one, I believe it would be not easy for you guys if you are not coming from the telecom industry. So there is two element. One is a network element. What network element does in that telecom industries, it is a core foundations of that internet, networking, which is a building block of all the networking. It is a hardware, just like routers, gateways, and all the cloud native technologies. And the network capability is what the solution is provided by the network. Just like if you are in the roaming informations, or you have a bandwidth and you have to just track that location. So those services, how you can just expose those services to external or internal customer. These are the services which is called as a network service, network capabilities. And the network element is the foundations, building block, or hardware, routers, and gateway. So coming to this slide, it is I'm the part of Network as Platform. Most of the team members audience have just heard about that network, the platform as a services, software as a services. Now these terms, network as a platforms and network as a services, is emerging very rapidly in the telecom industries. What does this mean? That all the telecom industries is just trying to expose their network capabilities to the internal and external customer. Previously they were keeping all this informations themselves only, and they are not exposing those information. Now to monetize those information, they are just exposing their services to that external customer, so that the other customer or the business users or developer can use those services, and on those services they can just build some of that solution. So some of the challenges in the telecommunications, it is a network is very complex, because in network element we have a different component like a HLR. HLR is just like a subscriber passport. You have a mobile phone, so all the subscriber information is contained those in that HLR. This is the home locations register. And then the VLR information contain that all the, if you're going into the roaming from one country to another. So those information is contained in the VLR, just like the PCRF is contained how the data services is charged and managed. So these are the building blocks of that network. And to access those network elements, it is very tough and challenges, because it contain the critical information. So to expose those informations, it is not easy to that external customer, because if something is exposed and the malicious user just got all the information, all the GDPR information and PI data, so it would be not very tough for any mobile companies to take care of those information. So So how we have just achieved, we have created a network as a platform or network as a services on the top of those network element. So what does it mean? That we have created a network not as a for the connections, but it is for the growth and innovations. What does it mean? It is mean that on the business or developer can just create a different solutions on the top of the network, and that they can just utilize those information. Now coming to that, this slide, if you are not into that telecommunication industry, so each and every, being a Vodafone employees, we are facing challenges, how to expose our services to the external customer. Being a BT or Orange or AT&Ts, everybody is just facing the same challenges. So they come on board on the one platforms so that they can just create a common specification, common standard to that external customer, so that any external customer can just, if they would like to access any provider capability, so they do not try to code for each and every, they will not make any changes into their coding standard, because we are creating a standard code practices to all the external customer. So they come on board, and it is called a camera. Camera is creating a specification for each and every capability. So if I go to, it is not. So this is a, if you go to the camera, if you go for the Google and write the camera, so it is a Linux-based foundation under that guidelines of the GSMA. So they are creating lots of services, just like they have gone with that stable version, and they have come with that lot. Means there is a 30 or 35 API they have created so far with that collaboration with that Vodafone's, BT, Orange. Every team member or other consultancy companies also participating to create those APIs. So if I'll go one of that API, it is called a device status. What it does, it gives you informations about whether the person is in roaming or not. So why it is important? So why the customer would like to know that whether the person is in roaming or not. Suppose in banking industry, the bank would like to know that if the transaction, if somebody is doing a transaction, the transaction is coming, if that transaction and request is coming from other country, so they would like to know that whether the person mobile is in roaming or not. If that person mobile is not in roaming at that point of time, so they will just detect as a fraud and they will just cancel the transactions. So on the basis of that one, the HSBC bank can just buy this services, device roaming API capabilities. The same with that connected network type, where we can just get the information, what is that tower information, where that tower is connected to, whether it is a 5G or 4G information, and device reachability status to contain the informations whether the mobile is connected to SMS, data, or the Wi-Fi. So why it is important? If there, suppose there is a issue to update some of the mobile information, so mobile provider can just check that whether the device is connected or not, until unless they will not run that any update on all this information. So this is the device status API. One is a quality on demand services. What does that mean? If any application or developer would like to just give some dedicated network performance to their application support, that application require dedicated latencies, throughputs, and bandwidth. So on the basis of using this quality of demand API, they can just give this information to their applications, so that they have a dedicated bandwidth, latency information on all this information, so that and it will be more useful for that gaming or virtual augmented, or if suppose Netflix also use those services that, okay, that our streaming should be in very good way, so I can just update those network performance that my latency should be on that on this group, or my bandwidth is in this range, and what is my throughput is in this range. So on this one, the client can use. The other API which is being used by the Simple Edge Discovery. This is mostly used by the gaming companies where the bandwidth and latency is most important for them. And what it does, it will just try to find out that nearest edge cloud server where the device can connect it. If it is far away, they can just provide all the information which is the nearest one, and the device will connect to that nearest edge cloud server, so that latency and bandwidth and throughput will be minimized for that gaming companies. So there is another company which is being created by these companies, the network providers. It is called Aduna. Now that Aduna comes into picture, and it is initiated by the Ericsson to just how to monetize those API which is being created by the camera. Now the camera has created a specifications by all the network provider. Now how to monetize? So all the companies come on board into Aduna, all over the world companies, and then they will just publish their API there, and that Ericsson will just find out that prospective client to use those APIs. So BTs, Vodafones, and other provider will not sell their API direct to their customer. It will go through that Aduna or some specific aggregator. So this is how we publish our network. If you go for that developer marketplace, it is how we are publishing, where you can just check that all the information about what is that API is all about, documentations, and you can just test those API as well. So if you Google with that Vodafone developer marketplace, then you can just find out all the API which we have created, and you can just test those API through. Means they will give you that sandbox environment where you can just test all this information. So this is what network platform technology stack which we are currently using. Mostly we are using cloud native technologies, some of that open source. Just like we are using Carpenter for auto scaling of the clusters, Kida for auto scaling of that pods and all. And then we are using NGNX for reverse proxying, certificate manager. So these are the technology stacks which we are using in our ecosystem. And this is the NAP architectures, how it is dealing with. The request is coming through that NEL. It is a network exposure layer. What it does, it is when the request comes, this is what it does. It is do all the security policy is there. The rate limiting information is there. So the request comes, it will be intercepted by the network exposure layer. And then after the interception, everything is clear. Then it will send those requests to that the Kubernetes part, and then on the Kubernetes we have a different microservices which deal with that our southbound connectivity, which is a network element, just like we have I just said about the HSS, VLR. So those information, it will just pull those information and then send it the required information to that client. Just like if in device roaming status, the sender will send it all the mobile information, the mobile number, and that this API will just return that whether the person is in roaming or not, true or false. So we have gone through that open source ecosystem in last 2 days. So everybody is aware about the benefit and challenges of the open source. I'll just skip this slide for the time being. This is the open source tools which we are using at this moment. There are a few more which we are using. Istio, it is for the service mesh, Squid proxies which we are using, Acro CD is for that scaling the GitHubs, Reloader, if we make changes into our secret or configurations, so how we can just deploy automatically. Prometheus and Grafana is used for that taking a matrix and how to visualize those metrics into that UI. And Cilium is for that network policies, and JMeter is for the testing and all. Now for the zero touch automations which we are achieve in that NAP ecosystem, it is through in that detection part as well, how to just detect whenever that some malicious thing is coming. So we have a Splunk where it stores all the logs and all on the basis of the Splunk, which we create those alert to the users or the admin, and then incident management is done by that pager duties where all the call recording is done. BMC remedy is used for that log and incident management, and Kubernetes and Kubernetes is used for that automating that, how to automate that scaling of pods, and the pods is being automated through the KIDA, and for that if we would like to just scale our Kubernetes cluster, it is used by the carpenter, and GitHub Actions, which we are using, how to automate our workflow. So these are the automations which we have being used, so there is no human intervention to access our ecosystem. Break free from vendor dependency, because we were using lots of proprietary solutions from that network exposure layer and Kubernetes as well. So it is very hard to make some changes into those proprietary solutions, and most of the time it is not, we are not able to integrate those solutions into our network element. So, and also those solutions or those proprietary application is not API based. Those are mostly the GUI based. So for the GUI based, a developer is finding lots of challenge to understand those knowledge area, because the developer is mostly are the coders, and for the coder they easily understand the API and the coding as compared to GUI. So we have just come up with that solutions to choose some of the open source and the building some solution on the top of open source and to replace some of the proprietary solutions. So our first target is to replace that our API gateway, which we are currently using as a APG, Google APG, which intercept all the requests coming to that our ecosystem. So the developer team is working together to create an ecosystem on the top of that open source, and it might be released in that third quarter of this year. So this is a solution which we are expecting, so that we are just trying to achieve that API-based solutions so that it can be customized as per our need. For future roadmap expanding, we are just trying to create machine learning and to just find out that how if there's some malicious information is coming, how to detect those malicious, just like a call is spam. If that somebody is spamming our call, so how to detect easily through the machine learning and artificial intelligence, and how to just on the basis of the logs and all, how we can just increase that scale our Kubernetes clusters. And then we are just moving to the 5Gs, and then that next generation securities, quantum safe encryptions. We are just trying to find out the best solution for that this. So this is all about network as a platform. So the most crux of that one, it is we are collaborating with that all the providers collaborating with the cameras, and then we are selling it to the Aduna. So these are the network capabilities, and if you would like to just know more about that cameras around, you can just Google and you can just participate, because lots of developers and companies are participating into camera GitHubs. They are just giving creating issues, creating a code deployment, and lots of mobile providers, developers are working together to just update those API specification. Any question? Okay.
Should I just project? Hello, hello. Oh, now we're on. That was a great presentation. Thank you. In your architecture stack, I didn't see anything around externalizing policies. In the CNCF, there's a tool called OPA. Externalizing policies is a best practice for cloud native to move to declarative security. Have you looked at any solutions
I believe we are using Kino We are using Kino for that, to creating a network policies, Kubernetes network policy.
Okay.
So I believe you are referring the same one.
Okay. And I had a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take DEX, for example. So you're using this open source stack. How is Vodafone contributing back to support these projects?
So
Are you
that
providing any funding, for example?
that I'm not very sure, because for the DEX, I'm not very sure about how we are just contributing to communities on the DEX part. But yeah, for the other one, like cameras and all, we are just supporting, and then we are just giving all those knowledge area.
So a tool like Splunk is the world's most expensive product. So you spend a fortune on that, but then you're just freeloading on all the other open source projects?
Which one?
Splunk,
Splunk is not a open source.
right?
It is a proprietary solution. Yeah, it is a vendor, means it is a licensed one, so it is not a open source.
Right, it's the world's most expensive project. So you'll pay a fortune for Splunk, but on all the other projects, you're just freeloading?
For the Splunk and Instana, we are just trying to just move toward the Prometheus and Grafana at this moment. Right now, we are using Instana for observabilities and monitoring for that Splunk. And then we are just moving toward that open source like Grafana and Prometheus to replace those two.
Hi, thanks as well from me. I used to work for Vodafone, so I'm very happy to see this work happening. Could you just clarify, you talked about a new commercial entity which is commercializing the camera APIs.
Yeah.
Is that being run in conjunction with GSMA? What role is GSMA playing in that?
GSMA, I don't think so. GSMA is playing a role in that Aduna part. So they are collaborating with that camera part to just testing and transforming and creating those API specifications. For the monetizations, I don't think so. GSMA is a part of the Aduna at this moment.
Okay. And I would also encourage Vodafone to contribute back into the open source projects that you're taking advantage of. Definitely, I +1 to.
Yeah, I believe
the
there is a developers teams ecosystem where we are contributing. So it is, I believe, not in my knowledge. Any other question? Okay, thanks a lot. Have a nice day.